Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fallout Roundtable. This is a place where diverse individuals discuss various topics from the Fallout universe. Join us, the conversation has already started.
Hey, Smoothskins, welcome to the Fallout Roundtable. It's me, your ghoul host, Gingerino, and I'm joined today with the regular crew minus Mav. We've got Sassy Lady, Jaxis, and Roma. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
My ass is every single one of you. And today we're going to be talking about some of your favorite characters from the Fallout series. That's right, we're talking about them ghouls. You know, good old Gob and all his friends and the ferals. But before we do that, we got a special guest with us today. Lawrence, are you there?
I am here. Very glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
It's exciting. It's exciting to have you on here. It's exciting to talk about this, my favorite of topics. Ghoul Gingerinos, anyways. All right. That being said, before we hand this off, we got... Okay, I can't do this voice anymore. I'm so sorry, guys. I can't.
I'm amazed you lasted as long as you did.
I drank all of my Coca-Cola. It's all gone. I don't have a water with me, so this is as far as it goes. So we tried. Before we get started, if you want to get in touch with any of us, you can reach us through email, Fallout Roundtable. Is it followrtb@gmail.com. Reach us on Twitter @followrtb. We're also on YouTube. If you want to see a bunch of talking heads, usually about halfway through the show, Jaxis gets a little bored and he starts like making weird visual effects. So you can make fun of him for that. Romer is just text right now, but you get to see Lawrence's beautiful face.
Yeah.
And Sassy's got a new Fallout layout in their background. So anyways, there's that. And we'll hand it off to Jaxis because you were the one who came up with the idea.
I didn't come up with an idea. I just said, hey, how about ghouls? I guess it's an idea.
That's coming up with an idea.
All right.
That's how
You've been doing this show
us.
for a year with us, man. You know exactly what that means.
That's how it works with us.
Oh, man. Does that mean I have a responsibility or something?
That's okay.
Something.
That's okay.
Okay, so, well, today we're talking about ghouls and all things ghouliness. I just picked it because I kind of think ghouls are cool, and I think supermutants get too much attention.
That's because they're the big boys of the wasteland.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, what are you going to do? Well, what's your favorite ghoul? Hancock. Everybody's going to pick Hancock.
You know what? Actually, no. Hancock's not my favorite. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hancock's cool. I like him and all that. Well...
I got this broken radio, and I don't know what to do with it. You think you
Gob
can
was the first ghoul I interact. Okay, so who was the first ghoul any interacted with? Was it Gob?
Gob.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely Gob. Yeah, he's the first one I interacted with.
If there's anything that I know from living this world is you always remember your first. Am I right?
He's right.
Oh my God.
Aha! Gotcha.
You're right.
Uh,
And of course, in Fallout 3, they looked so patchwork. You know?
It was patchwork's a good word for it.
It really is.
All right, so we got some experts here. I've kind of got a question. It's like, so I was doing some research on ghouls, right? And part of my research, it took me to a web page, was like gamerant.com or something like that, and it was saying that ghouls are not limited to humans either, with affected species, including now. My curiosity is, how did they know that these other infected species were involved? Because I don't remember ever seeing a ghoul whale. So this is whales, gorillas, and dogs.
well, the whale was a.
I've seen a ghoul dog.
Yeah, the whale was a rumor to being a possible character in 4, if I remember correctly, but it was never, obviously it was never there. I guess wasn't it like data mined information to where people were like, well,
Sounds right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this one of Maverick's
cut
things, man?
content.
Because Maverick was like talking about pirates and stuff, and he wants pirates. And
Yeah. But I mean, I think it was cut content because there was also that underwater vault too.
yeah,
Maverick's here. What?
Oh, it was okay, I just looked it up. So Bunker Hill from Fallout 4, there's a caravan guard who says the ghoul whale is real, old pig. We're outside, right outside the harbor. So it's just it sounds like it's just one random. It's like barked.
It's
audio.
a reference.
Yeah,
it's a reference. Okay.
Some caravan guard trying to convince old piggy that the ghoul whale is real. So even the game isn't sure that it's real.
That also makes you wonder if that's like the if that's what they're calling the monster in the harbor, which is actually the submarine.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that
maybe.
could be.
Speaking
be
of the
something, too.
submarine, so the ghoul captain that's
Uh-huh.
inside the submarine.
Yep.
So apparently he ended up being a ghoul without the I mean, it had nothing to do with the bombs.
Well,
Him changing-
Because the nuclear
it was
power
the,
is
it was the
up.
reactor
radiation
inside of
from
the-
his sub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's another one that, because I was looking at and it was talking about, that there was ghouls before the war. I'm like, how did that happen?
That's what we were talking about. I don't know. I guess with the super mutants, we were talking about that because of the guy that now I knew his name and now I forgot it. The guy that Nick Valentine was hunting down. He had to have known that exposing himself to radiation would save him from the war, turning himself into a ghoul. The hell is his name? I know everybody's yelling right now. It's and I can't think of it. Silver.
It's that guy.
Winter.
Yes.
Eddie Winter. Because I'm like, Silver, no. Yeah, so he somehow knew that if he exposed himself to sufficient amount of radiation, enough not to kill him, obviously, so he knew how much, but he ghoulified himself, locked himself up in the vault or whatever, and saved himself from the war, and was planning on coming back and basically reestablishing his kingpin empire, whatever, afterwards.
I love the fact that the bartender at Crater talks about him.
Yeah.
Because she actually knew him when she was in Boston.
Oh, wow.
And I think she even mentions that he disappeared before the war. And
right, he disappeared before the war.
Yeah.
So he knew he had an inside track. He had the lowdown, and it's like, how did he know that?
Well, there's actually a really sad side story that you find in Fallout 4. The lab assistant who basically was sent home to start injecting herself with some experimental substance, and you listen to her terminal entries where over the course of a week she slowly turns into a glowing one.
Right.
So and actually, ironically enough, that was the same drug that Hancock used, because he heard about it and he got his hands on the last dose, and that's how Hancock actually turned himself into a ghoul. So the government knew that people would ghoulify. And so
didn't you actually create a storyline that actually brought that up in one of your pods?
That was it was
relative.
It was Abby's Abby's lament. It was from the last days of Appalachia. It explained what happened to Abby.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I remember how you were explaining the changes as she was walking through the swamps, and how she's like, why am I glowing? And
But I mean, we kind of touched on it when we talked about super mutants, that obviously, I mean, the government was probably making experiments about, hey, can people survive with X amount of radiation, knowing that we were going to have some kind of catastrophic event involving nuclear bombs at some point in time. And they were probably experimenting with, can we survive with this amount of radiation? Will humanity survive? Is it going to be okay if we're exposed to this radiation? Or, will the people live? Will they die? What'll happen? So they had to have been experimenting with that stuff before the war.
Well, and supposedly there is a genetic marker that somebody has to have,
right,
for them to actually become a ghoul and not just die of radiation poisoning.
Of radiation poisoning and not turn feral.
What genetic marker?
Because
do we know what it is, or can we all?
Don't we wish, right? We'd all get out there and hey, run my DNA.
Redheads only.
Yeah, people. That's what I think.
There
only go. Redheads aren't going to.
Or people who have a
feral.
Specific birthmark on one spot on their body. I don't know.
So is that where we end up with the intelligent ghouls as opposed to the ferals?
Yes.
Well, actually, I think you can make the argument that it can depend on genetics, but I also think it depends on the dose of radiation that they get.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they get too much all at once, then they just go through the entire transition process all the way to feral,
tip over the edge. Yeah.
But
I feel like everything needs to be done in moderation, small doses at a time. Don't overwhelm your body, don't overwhelm your DNA, because that's when they either die or just zoom right over that that point that says you're gone. You know,
Hey,
your
man,
brain
that's,
just can't handle anymore.
That's natural ghoul selection. Strong eat the weak. If you can't take the radiation, you get out of here.
Strong eat the weak.
Or
So I
the
was
weak
thinking
the
about
weaks
the
have their
gorillas
faces
thing.
melted off, whatever you want to call it. I
Their
don't know.
brains fried, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the gorillas thing, it turns out that was actually inside of Nuka World.
Was it that?
Yeah, the Safari Adventure attraction house.
Ooh.
Oh, there was
That
a
was a ghost, wasn't it? Oh,
No, it says
Safari
it
Adventure.
houses gorillas that have been turned.
Oh,
That
I gotta
that
go
was
back
the
and
guy
I gotta
who
go back-
was that was the guy
called,
who
the
was
Tarzan
it's
guy.
called the
Yeah.
Ghoulrilla.
oh,
Oh,
works.
delightful. Thank
Yep,
you for
that
that.
guy was
Lisa.
messing with cloning
Hmm.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
it
was
says
where
in
you got
Nuka
the-
World DLC, the Safari Adventure attraction houses gorillas that have been turned.
Yeah.
I haven't played that DLC in
I
so
don't
long. I gotta
remember
go back
them
and play it
being
again.
Yeah, I don't remember them being ghouls. I just thought they were like grills. I don't remember.
A blue whale known as Old Peg is mentioned in the caravan guards in
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fallout 4
Mhm.
as an animal infected by. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
what you guys were talking about.
But
by the
that's
harbor.
by mention only.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay. I just
I love the name Ghoulrilla. Now I'm trying to think of other like ghoul puns for like
For other animals.
for other animals, but ghoul doesn't work with a lot, so it's kind of
No.
upsetting.
No, not too many G's, unfortunately.
I mean,
But you
even
could do,
giraffe
like-
doesn't really work out with a ghoul raff.
Is there anything that's close to like you could do like rotten face or something? I
Maybe a
don't know.
little girl that's a ghoul and call her a
Maybe.
ghoulie. Come here, ghoulie.
Could do like rot rats or something like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Well, in 76, you can find Ghoul Yagwai.
Yeah.
Ghoul Yagwai.
Yeah, 76, it seems like you can find a little bit of everything. You find a little scorch, you find a little ghoul, you find a little, I don't know, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, after a certain point, they're like, we got to make more animals. We have so much 76 content. We need to come up with ghoul everything.
Well, I guess they try and make the enemies, they stage their output and their health or whatever, and they have to make them different. So they make them glowing
Different
or
tiers.
ghoul or scorched or whatever.
Has there been? I don't think there has been like a very ghouly themed season in 76 yet. I'd be down for that.
Not
I
really,
don't
but
know.
I would be. We do. Do we have a ghoul companion yet? I don't even.
We do the Ghoul that thinks he's
Oh,
an
right.
alien.
The one that rides the ride, yeah.
That one that's on the little spinny thing.
The little rocket ride,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't
boy.
used him yet. I don't know.
I'd be down for like a major ghoul expansion in 76. That'd be great.
But I mean,
the
you just see
longevity
them
of ghouls-
randomly walking around all over the place. Like they're at the Brotherhood place, and don't they hate ghouls? I'm like, why are you here?
Well,
So apparently
supposedly
they can live for a really long time without food and water too.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, that's what Nick. Oh, well, it was Nick. But who else? Who else?
Yeah,
can-
don't forget the famous one stuck in a fridge this entire
Oh,
time.
that kid! Oh my
Billy
god! How
Peabody.
did that
Fridge.
kid live all? I mean, how many years was that? And that kid
Billy
lived
Peabody was 210 years.
in a
210
fridge.
years. Yeah.
Good
Hey,
Lord,
it's a
how
fridge. There was probably
boring.
food in there.
And then there was also Coffin Willie from Fallout 2.
Good old
How
Coffin Willie.
boring would that be? Good Lord.
That's the thing. She's like, oh,
Of course, it
Wouldn't
was
even
only a few
eat.
months.
I'd be so
Seriously, it'd
bored.
be boring. And I hope he never had to pee because ew. Ew. Ew.
do ghouls pee?
I don't know.
I mean, the joke of your pee being green kind of loses all of its effect at that point because it's like that's
Really?
just kind of what it is.
All of you
Where do
are
you think-
green.
Where do you
And
think
it's
the
all
glowing
falling
ones
off.
come from?
Yeah, that's true.
Glowing ones or yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like I guess they lose like all need for bodily function. Like
They
they,
would
don't
have
need
to.
eat or drink, so then they don't.
Especially
Well,
glowing
breed
ones,
anything?
They
because
don't
then you'd
smell anything. So
you'd go into a Fallout dungeon. There'd be little puddles of glowing water everywhere. And
What's that? It looks neat. Don't
That's
touch
gross.
it.
yeah,
don't
they
eat
don't
yellow
like
glowing
smell
snow.
anything
I know.
or whatever. So it really wouldn't bother them. They don't have a sense of taste either.
Was it
Well,
fun?
that's,
Well,
that's
hey,
rude. Some of them are pretty
I-
stylish. Give them a break.
I'm a huge fan of Walton Goggins, so I can't wait to see his ghoul.
I know. Me
Ooh,
too.
yeah, that's gonna
I
be
think
good.
he's like perfect for being a ghoul.
It just seems to me like his facial structure, like he was meant to have a deformed face.
That's what I'm saying. Like that face, I'm like, make it a ghoul.
Yeah.
I hope he hears
You know
this
what's
and he's
weird
like,
is when I saw him, I knew immediately that he was going to be a ghoul.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Because they were like, he signed on to the project. There's going to be a ghoul. And I'm like, it's gotta be him.
Yeah.
It's gotta be him.
I mean, he would have been the perfect Hancock. Can you imagine him
Oh my
putting
God.
on the
wouldn't
hat
he?
and everything? He
Right?
would have been like, he would have nailed that role.
Oh, he
Absolutely.
would.
Crap.
He could totally play that part. I mean, he's already done it probably a few times. Oh my gosh, it would be perfect.
I'm loving this idea of him coming out like to do an audition. He walks out in front of the cast person.
They're like, "Yep."
Doesn't even audition, and they're like, "We actually have the perfect part for you."
Right.
And he
They're
gets
like,
it.
they're all sitting back there going, look at his bone structure. Oh my God, that
This
face.
poor guy.
We're not going to need that much.
I'm being typecast.
We're not going to need that much makeup on him. That's great. That's a bonus.
He's gonna be so easy. No prosthetics needed.
Oh my
So
He's
how
like,
mar-
hey, that's great. Wait a minute.
I was going to say, and then it's like, so how married are you to your nose?
Oh,
We're gonna
they
need to Voldemort the heck.
made
out
it
of that
happen with
guy.
Voldemort. Exactly. I mean, they didn't chop his nose off, so.
No.
Oops, my bad.
Yeah, no
No.
Ralph
So
Fiennes.
we don't need this right now. We're just gonna remove it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that ghouls they've definitely, I mean, I think of all the NPC classes in Fallout, I mean, I think they are the ones that seem to be the community favorite just across the board.
They
Doesn't
have the
matter if
most
it's
character, I think.
I think they do because they're people, but then you
Mhm.
throw in the ghoul aspects and they've been around for a really long time,
Right.
and none of them are quite right. There's always some little, quirk to them or whatever.
Quirky. Well, they're hundreds of years old, so why not be quirky?
You're going to be a little weird after a while.
But
no
I
matter
think
who
they're
you
the
are.
most human of all of the enemies that we face, or the companions or whatever that's out there. They're the most human. And they're
Mhm.
also the ones that you learn things about. So like Fallout 4, you go to Good Neighbor and you talk to what's the lady with the shop next to Chloe's shop.
Yeah, the trader person, I can't remember her
Right.
name
I
off the
can't
top
think
of
of
my
her
head,
name.
but
Daisy? Is it Daisy? Or something like that? That seems, I don't know. Anyway, you talk to her and she talks about when she was a kid and she'd go to the library because she wants you to return her library book.
that's
And
right.
it's like, why do we care about that anymore? It's been how long? 200 years? But it's important to her. And she talks about when she used to go to the library and you're just like, oh my God, that was so long ago. And you were alive then? It's wild, and it's just like, I'd be talking to every ghoul I could get my hands on because I'd be like, tell me about history, because I like talking to old people because I like knowing, like, tell me about when you grew up or whatever, because like these people, like I have a lot of 90-year-old people, even some
I
100-year-old
love hearing
people.
about the depression from people.
Well, that's just it. Like,
Mhm.
tell me about like all the changes you've seen in your life. I mean, think about it. They were born in early part of the century or whatever. Like all the change. Like we've seen a lot of change.
I
over
remember
our
when I
lives.
saw first motor car go through town.
Right,
was
and
awesome.
they knew life before TV. They knew life before microwaves. I mean, all
My
kinds of
television used
stuff.
to have, I had this remote control. It was the
I
new
was the remote
Ferguson
control. What are you
Zenith,
talking about?
and it had 5 buttons on it. 1, 2,
I remember
3,
when we
4,
had 3
5.
channels.
3 of
Went
them
away
didn't
at
do
10 o'clock at
anything.
night. Yeah. So I
Was,
think that's one reason why everybody loves ghouls.
That's part of it. We should continue talking about ghouls after we take a short break.
Ever wanted to be a content creator but had no clue where to begin? Come join me as I sit down with content creators that have already faced the challenges you're up against, as they discuss the tips and tricks that help them be successful. Here on The Content Creator's Guide, available wherever podcasts can be found.
And welcome back to the show. We're talking about ghouls, but you probably already knew that because why would you jump into a podcast halfway through right exactly where the commercials are? So anyways, let's get back to it. Sassy was just telling us some of her favorite things about ghouls, and I want to chime in. My favorite thing about ghouls is the dark humor that they have. They have like this nihilistic, like, yeah, I'm a horrible freak. Life is awful, but hey, it's just, I don't know why they have this weird contrast between what their life is like, but the humor that they have,
It's all gloom and doom except for
Is-
the party hats. I
Mhm.
love the party hats.
right? It's great. I can't remember which game it is or even who says it. Like one ghoul was trying to talk about like how they would engage in afternoon delights, you know, special one-on-one lady and, well, I guess it could be lady and man or lady and lady or man and man. It doesn't
Activities.
really matter. Anyway, it's special your special ghoul friend time, you know. And I was just like, oh, this is such a
Ghoul friend.
disturbing set of lines to have to deliver, but funny. You know,
It's like the body
hilariously.
But if
just
you
pressing
think
together and
about
then
it,
pull
if their
apart, and it's like
nose fell
a
off,
ham cheese sandwich, just kind of pulled apart at the same.
but if,
Oh,
but if their
God,
nose
man.
fell off, don't you think maybe other appendages might be missing?
Probably.
Well, no,
mean,
but it says actually in the wiki that if their body parts fall off, you can actually put them back on, and they'll
That's part of
still
their
work.
mass healing process.
Holy
Yeah.
cow!
okay, wait. Did they like just like did I want to be
Yeah.
careful what hand gestures I make right now. Do they just take the body part and then
Yeah.
they just like flock it back on and there
Is
it
it
just
like
sticks?
is it like
Yeah.
when your Barbie
Do you- or do you
falls
need-
off
Is
and
that
you
a
just
word?
pop it back
Flock?
in?
Flock.
Yeah.
It was more like an onomatopoeia. Or do you need Wonder Glue for this? Because I'm like sick and tired of having to get adhesive
You
everywhere I go.
need
I'm always
Gorilla
wondering about the
glue.
Wonder Glue.
Yeah.
Gorilla glue is what you need.
Gorilla or
Gorilla Glue.
Gorilla.
Gorilla
That's pretty good.
glue. Gorilla.
Can you? Okay, I'm surprised, but if that's true, Bethesda should do like not a quest, but like a really small favor for the player character, where a ghoul's like, "Hey, I need you to get these ingredients. I have to put some of myself back together." Or
I was
something,
gonna say
you
fetch
know, or,
quest. I lost my arm on the whatever, and
Yeah.
I can't find it.
or you find a ghoul in the woods with no arms and no legs, and he's like, "Listen, it was one hell of a night. If you could do me a solid and find my arms and legs, that'd be real great."
Oh my god!
Can you imagine what kind of drinking games they would have?
Oh
Like,
man!
dude.
Oh man! Oh man!
Oh, good God.
Like, man, that last night just cost me an arm and a leg. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Like, literally.
Oh man.
Don't play poker with that guy. You'll lose an arm and a
And,
leg.
and it's some guy in a casino just chilling in a chair, and he's missing an arm and a leg. And every time he says shit like that, it goes "Dudunch."
Yeah,
I
you got
love
the
that so
dealer,
much.
the blackjack dealer, with all these arms and legs piled up behind
Yeah.
him.
that poker blackjack
like-
one, that's funny though. Like, hey, listen, I see you missing a finger. I'll raise you one finger.
I'll raise you a
Oh.
finger.
Oh, that's
No strip poker for you.
Awful.
I mean,
today's episode's gonna have an explicit content warning for sure.
Yeah.
Morgan's just had
Yeah.
another zinger. I can tell.
I don't know.
Some
We've been
kind of-
pretty creative so far.
I think
Well, I
it's
was
an oddball warning. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I was just gonna say that when you go to the underworld in Fallout 3, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're the only smooth skin there, you know,
You are.
obviously they're kind of insulting you and actually discriminating against you when you're down
They
there.
do.
Some of the dialogue they have is just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course in Fallout 4 there's the woman ghoul at the slog who you know you haven't lived until you've gone ghoul, like something like that, she says.
She does.
Because you can romance her a little bit or something.
And
It's like,
everybody wants Hancock. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
come on.
You think?
That's so funny.
Well, actually, Valeria would be able to tell us more than anybody.
that's true.
Yeah,
That is true.
She's got actual true cock. You know,
Forgot about some of that. Wasn't there a ghoul in Underworld who was like trying to scare you into thinking they want to eat your brains or something?
Yeah,
He walked
love
around and
that.
talked about it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
yeah. But then there were also a couple of ghoul prostitutes in the underworld as well.
Mhm.
And they
Yeah,
talk
that's right.
about how it's like a fetish. Like people
Yeah.
will seek them out.
oh, that
because
was
that's
in
like-
the original Fallout.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Underworld was
Yeah.
an interesting place. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I totally screwed up. I couldn't. I didn't have enough caps to buy Sharon's contract, so I just
Oh, bummer.
ended up not having to have that experience. So
Oh,
I
wait.
wonder if it had been a
the-
cold experience or not.
The experience of having
I
Sharon
just
with you?
freaked out when I bought his contract and he turned around and killed the guy. I was like, oh,
That was
snap.
great. That was so good. Talk to Azrakal. Oh man.
I was like, you're not gonna kill me now, right? It's like, shut.
You're not part of the deal.
No, because I had the contract, so he couldn't. That was basically it. And I was like, remind me to be nice to you.
He was my favorite companion in Fallout 3, I think.
He was pretty good.
He was really useful. And then contrast that with New Vegas. I barely used what is it? Rauda?
Raul?
Raul?
Raul or something like that?
Raul
Danny
Tejada?
Trejo.
I
Yeah, it
barely
was Danny
used him.
Trejo.
I don't know why, but I just
I mean, wouldn't you just hang out with him just to listen to Danny Trejo talk?
You'd think so. I think the character for me was too neutral. Like there wasn't really far in one direction, which is kind of like a lot of ghouls are like that, right?
You
Because
like
they're
those
just sort of like
extreme ones?
Like, whatever.
Whatever.
Go ahead, kill him.
Well, they've been
See if I
around for
care.
so long, they just don't care anymore. They just
Like-
go with the flow.
It's like, can
Like,
you
it's not
just
going to matter.
keep the dog alive? Everybody else. I like the dog. He's
Yeah,
kinda
the dog
nice.
is the best. Don't let the dog die. Just be nice to the dog.
So are
So-
ghouls just Fallout versions of liches then from fantasy?
Yeah, I mean, zombies. I mean, that's kind
guess.
of the original. The original inspiration was zombies, and they wanted to make some of them intelligence, and some of them were, with the ferals that you'd end up having to fight. So, and then the excuse was they all got turned by radiation. So that was the original how ghouls originated in the story. So, at least
Yeah.
for me.
So, and apparently, if you do create a miracle ghoul child, it'll be a ghoul. Like if
Really?
two ghouls.
So
Well,
if you procreate
that's where
as
Monica
a ghoul,
came
it'll
from.
be a ghoul.
She was mentioned in Fallout 3, her father Clifford, to have been born to ghoul parents.
What?
Yeah.
So ghouls aren't sterile. That's
Her
interesting.
name was Monica. Well, it says they typically are sterile
Okay.
and do not produce offspring, but there was a miracle case of somebody named Monica. No, Monica, just you. No, anyway,
I don't know, that's interesting.
that's a
because
stand-up joke. If anybody actually
typically,
watches stand-up, yeah.
Typically, your reproductive parts do not like radiation. That's why you can't get so many X-rays, or they like to cover up those parts.
But just your reproductive parts. The other parts are
Oh,
fine.
I mean,
you
So,
don't need
alright.
those other parts.
I go to
I'm
the
just saying
dentist
those
all the
parts are
time. They just
particularly sensitive. to
I just like
radiation.
they reference like the conditions that they'll develop, like arthritis and glaucoma and cataracts. Oh, and not to mention the rotting flesh, but
Right.
losing limbs.
You'll lose your nose, and your voice box will change. Your voice is going to change.
It's like, but they got rid of regenerative abilities through the. So why does any of that other
Go
stuff
take a
matter?
bath in some radiation. You'll be healed.
Hmm.
Interesting that they get glaucoma, though.
they get
Have we
glaucoma.
noticed any ghouls that can't see very well?
Actually,
I'm sure.
if you notice, a lot of them do wear glasses. A lot of them wear glasses, actually.
Mhm.
That's
Hmm.
kind of true.
Penelope does in
Yeah.
76, and Hancock doesn't, but of course
Right.
he's a newer ghoul.
Yeah. It's all the old ghouls.
old ghouls. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
that
'cause he
generation of
made
humans back
himself.
then had crappy eyesight.
Natural
they did-
ghouls.
Well, they didn't have LASIK, obviously, in
Guys.
pre-war America.
That's
Guys,
true,
guys,
actually. Yeah.
I need
That's
to
probably
make you
true.
observe something right now.
do it.
How many of you are wearing glasses?
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm a ghoul.
That we're ghouls?
No,
Well,
it's just that people.
most people I know
have
wear
crappy
glasses.
Oh, yeah.
eyesight.
Yeah,
That's true too. Yeah.
It is. A lot of
That
people
is
do
very
wear
true.
glasses.
It's
Yeah.
not
Actually,
really
that would
matter.
make sense too, because if the ghouls are from the pre-war, when they wore glasses, then they would know what they're missing. But
Right,
people who are born
because-
in an era where there aren't spectacles, they wouldn't seek them out because they
Well,
would
there
just
probably
be like,
weren't
"This is what."
contacts pre-war in the alternate.
Yeah, good luck finding my missing contact in the capital wasteland, Sassy.
I think I
Nobody
dropped my
move.
contact. Well,
So what
you're-
about the
Nobody moves.
discrimination against
It's
the
around here
ghouls?
somewhere.
So like, at the beginning, you're like, so Fallout 1, okay, everything just happened and the ghouls are there and they're pretty much like cast aside. Even the smart ones, they were all treated really poorly. And then as time goes by, Fallout's spanned over hundreds of years. The discrimination's still there, even though that they've
Mhm.
figured out that they're not going to get like infected by them. Why do you
Right.
think that discrimination held for so long without being? Is it just because they couldn't do shit about it?
Well, I think I mean, if you think about it, unfortunately, we tend to judge people by their appearance.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
really, and it doesn't matter how much time goes by. If someone looks like a monster, your first impression is going to be they're a monster, and
Yep.
we need to discriminate against them. I mean, and that's
Yeah.
actually some of the saddest stories you find, because in 76, there's the whole story of Lucy Hardwick and her ghoul friends. You know, she
Yeah.
becomes a ghoul. They all go to the Galleria, and then you find out that the Free Staters hunted them all down and killed them.
Mhm.
Which is actually why Eugenie had to leave Appalachia, because that's what they were doing. And of course, right after the war, that would make sense. You know, you see these people, and you know, it's hard to tell between ferals and regular
Right.
ones. And so, you know, you hear
They all
that
look
last
the same.
yeah, they all look the same. And, you know, so yeah,
Right.
it's very much
Nobody
that.
was going to stop and check and go, "Hi, are you intelligent?" and then get their
Well,
face eaten.
even then, I mean, does it really matter if you see something that's talking that looks exactly like the thing that just tried to eat you?
Yeah.
Are you really going to not pull the
Yeah.
trigger?
Like,
That's what
it's
makes
your
it
fight or flight
worse.
instinct says no, kill it.
That's
Well,
almost
with the
makes it worse, right? Because it's like the hatred and discrimination in this world is almost justified, because it's like, well,
You
I mean,
just-
not
it's like they
justified
were
in the sense
something
like,
that
untrusted
looks
too,
like
'cause,
you
like,
tried to kill me.
it's
So-
like those things happen, and that's like
Yeah.
that makes it last longer. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, it's like, well, you know, granted, you're talking to me now and you seem to be intelligent and cool and all, but how long until you turn into one of those? Nobody knew.
Mhm.
You know, nobody knew, like, oh, who knows, you're not gonna, like, if I bring you home with me and you're not gonna turn feral tomorrow. You
Well,
know,
it's
and
weird
I
because,
think
like,
people were
in
scared.
the New Vegas game, they could go into like Freeside, but they weren't allowed to go onto the New Vegas Strip unless they were supervised by a human.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like they weren't trusted.
Yeah.
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 Like, you know, what are they? They're all a bunch of thieves. I mean, it was like
they
they
could
were
go
all
feral
treated,
at any second, right? Is probably what
They
the thought
start
is.
running
maybe,
rampant.
but it was almost like they were treated like they like criminal element, like they're always going to steal or, you know, cause some problem or do something they shouldn't. Like it almost seems like that's how they were treated, like they were just bad.
Well, I mean, to make it worse, if they were being discriminated against, then a lot of them probably did have to resort to petty crime to be able to
Right.
like get stuff, right? So it just perpetuates.
Right.
That's
And because they look the way they do, I mean, socially speaking, they're a constant reminder of the world you live in. So it's just like it's either awkward or people feel weird around them, and
Well,
everyone
it's like the
knows it.
Brotherhood of Steel just wanted to euthanize them.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they wanted to clear them off the face of the earth so that they could start over. And they were like, I see the Brotherhood of Steel's point of view on that in some ways, but I also see it from it being a very non-humanitarian way of handling things.
Well, sure. But I see what Ginger's saying too, is because, you know, you get in a place like New Vegas where, you know, you're inside the walls and everybody's trying to make everything back the way it was. And then the last thing you want to see is, you know, somebody parading around with something that reminds you that, no, it's not the way it was. It is completely effed up out there.
Yep.
That's not what you want to see when you're trying to pretend that everything's okay and we're all good. And that's
It's kind of
not-
like when you see that veteran inside of the wheelchair with the hoses in his nose and he's missing a leg and he's going through Walmart
Right.
and everybody's just staring at him.
and you don't want to be
Good
like,
Lord, man.
oh,
And the only thing I can think of is, God, thank you for your service, sir.
right.
Mhm.
And other people are just want to look away because they're like, oh my God, you know, they don't want to acknowledge the fact that that was for you and, you know, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and then the flip side of all of this, and this
I
is
had
where
to throw that in there. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was
No.
my shout out to all the veterans out there that are treated like crap.
totally get it. But then here's
Mhm.
the flip side of that is when you meet the ghouls that want to get into Tenpenny Tower,
Yeah.
and you
Oh, yeah.
realize the people are really horrible, so you immediately sympathize with the ghouls.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you side with the ghouls
Mhm.
and
They
you
just
come
tear the place
back,
apart.
well,
Yeah.
they kill everybody.
They did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
just wiped everybody out. And it was
Yeah.
like, what? Why did you do that? And they're all like, they
well, 'cause they would-
deserved it and da-da-da. And it's
Yeah.
just like, oh crap. It's like you can't, like, you talk to them and they're like, yes, we just want to get along and blah blah blah.
And it's strange how it's a mirror of society.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, because if you look at, you know, you could pick any discriminated group in the United States or, you know, around the world. You sympathize with the discriminated group so much, and then at the same time, that same discriminated group, you hand them the keys to the city, and what do? They burn it to the ground.
Well, I think what I think it speaks to is is that people are bad no matter who they are. It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't it doesn't matter if they're ghoul or they're human or they're raider.
Ghouls are people too.
Yes, exactly. And
And
some
act
of
like
them are
them.
going to be really good and some of them are going to be really bad. That's why you see ghoul raiders
Yep.
and
And
you know.
cool and settlers. Yeah.
Oh, come
Yeah.
on, Ginger. That was an open door right there.
Ghoul raiders.
Okay.
It went over my head.
Yeah, apparently.
Sorry, man.
Football
No, I agree,
Raiders,
and
Go
that's
Raiders,
the way it
Ghoul
is with
Raiders.
any
Yeah.
community, any race, any affiliation or whatever is being talked about right now. It's like there's always some good and there's always some bad, and you hear about the bad, and then everybody assumes that it's the whole group.
With all this like discrimination, I'm surprised that there isn't like a major ghoul faction out there that like want to like irradiate an entire wasteland area to get rid of all
Who
the
came up
sword
with
skin.
that idea?
I don't know.
Or GLM,
Yeah, I don't
Ghoul
know.
Lives Matter.
Ghoul Lives Matter. Wasn't that Ginger's
funny.
dream group that he was going to come up with? Is the ghouls that were going to make everybody be irradiated? And
I
turn
think
into
that's such a great hook for like a problem in a Fallout game of like, oh crap! It turns out this secret group of ghouls actually want to just irradiate the entire city,
yeah.
and it's up to you to help or stop them. You know? It's like,
Can't
Actually-
get rid of the ghouls. We make them all ghouls.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, the children of Adam should have been all ghouls.
Right?
Like, why
Right
didn't they just
there.
make them all
Why aren't
ghouls?
they? They should
Yeah.
Why weren't they? They were sitting
absolutely
there
be
swimming
ghouls.
in
They
the
should
pool.
not be regular people. Well,
Yeah.
don't they just suck down and rat away all the time or something?
Yeah, well, supposedly there's like some again genetics. Supposedly there's some gene that evolved that made
So they're
them.
the chosen ones.
Yeah, so they made them
Yeah.
immune to radiation. But like I said, I think that the easier solution to that would have been just make it a ghoul faction, the Children of Adam.
Exactly. It would have made so much more sense.
How many people blew up the bomb and watched it from the top of Tenpenny Tower?
I
You know, I had such a hard time doing that, but I did finally push the button because I just
Yeah.
wanted to do that part of the playthrough. And I love the fact that Three Dog gets so upset about that.
I couldn't upset, Three Dog. And I was
I
just
just like standing at the top of the thing and
I
how-
lived in Megaton. I didn't want to blow up my house.
I did a second playthrough where I blew it up, and I was like, I can't believe a game lets me have this much choice. And then I went back to Megaton, and Moira is still there.
Still
As a
walks
ghoul.
around the ruin. Yeah, and she's a ghoul.
She's a ghoul, but doesn't realize
She's like,
it.
"Hello, don't you know?"
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I once had a friend.
Have you finished the Wasteland Wonders guide?
I was playing Fallout 3 while I was on the phone, and at one point, my friend on the other line was like, "Who is that annoying person at your house?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing a game. It's Moira Brown."
Oh my god, she's so annoying.
Voice is very. Her voice is weird. I love it and I hate it.
Yeah.
Like I get a nice like,
It's-
oh, I'm safe
it's
feeling about
very
it, but I also
distinctive.
after a while I'm like, you can stop now.
Yeah. There were times when I was just like, shut up. I just want to sell you my crap and move on.
Funny thing is, I used to think all Canadian women sounded like that.
Yeah, there
No,
you
just
go.
from Fargo.
Maybe that's why I like it a little bit, And then after she turns into a ghoul, yeah,
Oh
and then
my
I can
God.
romance her. Hey, what's up, ghoul friend?
Sorry, I couldn't
I
help
had to do
myself.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, we talked a little bit about this before when we were talking about super mutants, but I think if you were to take a community poll, if they were to make playable races in Fallout,
Oh, definitely.
I think a lot of people would end up choosing ghoul.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, and then of course you would have to add Hancock's outfit so that you
Oh
would
my
just
God,
have all
yeah.
the ghouls running around
Hell
the
yeah.
wasteland and
Everybody
Yeah.
looked like a pirate.
Yeah. Make him pick any of the founding people or whoever they are. I don't remember, but
So
just make him
in
anyone
their
from history.
case,
Ginger wants
does
to run
that
around
mean
looking like Gob.
Hey,
whenever
I-
they get hurt, they just kind of like run over to some radiated area and
Right.
stand at a pool?
Yeah. Run into the nuke zone. I'm fine. I'm healed.
yeah.
I
I'm
mean, I
kind of
think-
surprised they haven't done it yet. Sorry, Lawrence. I
Oh no
interrupted.
no I'm sorry.
Right.
No, and I agree with you. It seems to me that that's the one untapped potential of Fallout as a game. It's just that you have these NPC races
Mhm.
that could be easily implemented. I mean,
Yeah.
I say easily, but I don't develop games, so I don't know. But obviously, with like Elder Scrolls and Skyrim, I mean, you can be something other than just a person.
Yeah.
They
It's
could
just a
actually
skin,
legitimately.
right? I mean,
I think the mechanics are fine. I think the problem is narratively. right? Like,
Maybe.
how do you write lines, especially if it's something like Fallout 4 where you have a voice protagonist? You would
Yeah.
have to have but in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, like
And
it's just
76.
it's
you
just
don't have
text-based
that.
dialogue. They could have made it happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's a whole other character you have to write, because now every person you interact with, you have to ask, are they pro-ghoul or anti-ghoul?
That's true.
Well,
Right,
imagine
so-
them having to deal with the persecution elements in the game.
Yeah.
Imagine going into a town and all of a sudden that whole town's after you,
Yeah.
and not knowing
Yeah.
until you walk in. You're like,
So,
oh crap!
And that's a lot to account for. But I will say this, given the scope of Starfield, the next Bethesda game coming out,
Yeah.
I don't feel like scope is that big of a problem anymore. If they can make 1,000 planets in their new space game,
Holy
then they can make
cow.
it a ghoul NPC in Fallout.
I think they should
I would
make a
think so.
version of the game actually that kind of mirrors Diablo's gameplay style, and actually have it where you have like a super mutant, you could have a ghoul, and you have like a player, like 4 players that you control, and you go around and just point and click, and you're going through the wasteland, and you got little adventures and stuff like that in that style of game. I don't know why they don't venture into different styles of gameplay. You know, like we were talking about, mixing games and stuff before, like where I
Mhm.
was talking about
Yeah.
mixing
Right.
StarCraft with
Mhm. Which would be great.
Fallout, where you can have different like characters and stuff and have factions going after each other. I
Yeah.
don't see why they couldn't do the same thing with like Diablo or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I
think
could
that's a-
definitely. Yeah, I mean, you could actually make like the Wasteland Warfare, like the tabletop game,
Mhm, mhm.
and turn that into
An
you know,
actual game.
play it like
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
Because they have rules for you to
Yeah.
be a ghoul or a super mutant or whatever.
Maximize the franchise.
They
I
have
mean,
all of it.
My gosh,
It just
yeah.
doesn't seem like it's a Bethesda thing. Like if you look at their history of game development, they like what they're doing. They have the same genre for all their games they make.
They do put a
Um,
lot of time in on any one game they do.
And it's
so.
true, right? And they don't it doesn't seem like that's their MO to want to branch out. They also don't seem to like to license out games for other people, like merchandise, yes. But
Mhm.
other than the Wasteland Warfare, I haven't heard of a lot of, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, or other Bethesda licensed video games out there.
Not video
Spin-offs.
games. I was shocked
right?
that Modiphius got licensed for all that stuff. I was like, holy cow, they have it's all licensed and they have everything.
Well, now there's the Fallout Magic card crossover thing that's going to be
Yeah,
coming
what's up
out.
with that? Ugh.
That's going to be the thing that gets me into Magic.
I'm
was-
Never.
still waiting for New Vegas 2.
Never.
No.
Yeah.
I'll never get into Magic. Sorry. I can't. I'm not good at deck building games.
I'm not good at
terrible
occults. I tried to do a pentagram once and I couldn't get the virgin blood in the right spot. And I didn't have a goat. I
You
only
didn't have a
had
goat?
I didn't
Well,
have a
that's your
goat.
big
It was
problem
just a
right
sheep
there.
with horns.
No,
wasn't
I had a
it's
right.
big
not
old
just a
chicken.
sheep. It's you
You
have
see
to
the
have
size
a
of that
goat.
chicken?
I would expect that Fallout 5 should include playable races, and that's only because we're probably not going to get it for another 4 or 5 years.
Right?
So,
Probably
I
I
mean,
heard like 10. So
You
geez.
know.
Yeah,
I
it'll
say
be
2030, honestly, but yeah.
yeah. Well, heck, at this
I don't
point,
know
that's
how I'm going to
almost
feel when I'm
2030.
going to have to take my teeth out to play a game.
Exactly.
Scared me. I got to pull these out of here.
I'm gonna be
Well,
like asking the nurse
I'm
to get
gonna-
me out of bed so I can go play my game.
I know it's a very controversial topic, but with the way AI is going right now, they actually might be able to pull off these games earlier than what they have in the past.
Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
it's just because that's what the big hubbub is with Hollywood right now, is because how much AI can create things. I mean, we've seen it all on the internet so far and stuff. So I mean, who knows? I mean, you could just tell AI is like, yeah, I want a Fallout game and I want this to be the storyline, and next thing you know, it's like, oh wow, it's not that far behind.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I was going to say only if AI can replicate all the bugs, because that's what I'll miss.
Yeah.
It's just
You-
not
you've
a
s-
Bethesda game if it doesn't have bugs.
I'm
You've
Yeah,
seen the
that's true.
AI hands, right?
Oh my god, yes. Yeah. You're
Wow.
right. You're
What
right.
is that? That's AI. You can just look at the hands. Just
Hey,
look at the
and
hands.
you know what? And those kind of things would be perfect for ghouls or Fallout
Oh, for
mutants.
sure.
So like,
For
where's your
sure.
handle messed up? No, I'm just a ghoul.
Dang.
Yeah,
That's
that's all I am.
Speaking
This
of
is-
New Vegas, if you guys get a chance and I don't know if you're connoisseurs of whiskey, any of you, you should try some Old Man Liver whiskey. It's actually really good stuff.
I gotta order
Mm.
that because it
Try an old
sounds really
man's
good.
liver whiskey.
It is
What is
really
it? He
good.
says oaky spice. What is it? Oaky, spicy, and a little bit
It's
I
just it's got a so for me it's almost a smoking nutty kind of
Yeah.
taste with a little bit of a spicy pinch to it, and it's just
Right.
really nice. If you've ever had like see, I don't want to brand it by pushing it out towards certain things, but there's a sweetness to it as well, almost like a Canadian mist. I don't know if
Okay.
anybody's ever tried that, but
My
yeah,
grandma used to drink CC&7. So.
This episode brought to you by Old Man Liver Whiskey.
Yeah, there
Sweet
you go.
like a Canadian mist.
Not a sponsor yet.
no.
Not a sponsor. Whew.
The
Are you
radium just
kidding?
adds
I don't know if
to
that
it,
guy
too,
could
so.
be any bigger a sponsor of the show than anybody we've ever had.
Who?
He's always talking about us.
The
I
guy
don't-
that
I didn't
owns
hear
the
it.
Pioneer
Old Man
Distillery.
Liver, Steven Stats, the owner
Yeah.
of the Pioneer
Oh,
Distillery.
gotcha.
the
That's
guy
who
who
made the whiskey.
puts on a big old event just for
Yeah, no, my
Las
audio
Vegas
literally
people.
skipped when you talked. I didn't hear what you said. I got you.
I'm the one that took a shot.
Oh, you missed it when he was high on Coke.
What?
Coke. The
So he just
cola.
split as soon as you said that. No, it was
Coca-Cola.
probably his kid making noises. It's like, oh no, I gotta put the little one to bed.
I don't know. But LOL. Yep. Whoops. That's the chat.
Yep. That sounds to me like I hit the nail right on the head. He's got to
Probably
put the
is,
little one to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think definitely from a narrative perspective, Bethesda uses Ghouls to highlight moral choices and also highlight just the discriminatory nature of people.
mhm.
And I think that you interact with some really cool characters. I mean, I think if you think about the NPCs that you remember the most, a lot of them turn out to be the Ghouls.
Yeah.
For a lot of the things we've already mentioned, the fact that they tell really cool stories, they've got a really good history that you can dive into. They end up being part of, I mean, Hancock just being your companion, you find out so much about kind of what's going on in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a lot of the stories are extremely sad, like Oswald the Magnificent, the guy in Nuka
Yeah.
World,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
a glowing one who watched all of his friends slowly become feral. And
he's barely holding on to his sanity himself
Right.
from that whole situation. I
And
mean,
his
just to listen
girlfriend.
to him talk, you're like, man, he's skirting the edge, and
Yeah.
it's just like it's heartbreaking because you're like, they make you feel for them. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Especially
then
like I had already found his girlfriend before I met him. So I had the option to tell him that she didn't make it or not. And man, I was just like, I don't really
And
tell
actually,
him.
one of my favorite characters
Kill his
from
hope,
Dead Money
Mhm.
is the assassin dude.
Mhm.
The ghoul that's in there. That dude's got mountains of character. I just thought that was a really cool character. I know it's a
And Dean
DLC, but
Domino,
still.
he's amazing too, and he's a ghoul.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Oh, and the
Yeah.
the ghouls that wanted to launch themselves into space.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
jeez.
They were
Yes.
they were hilarious.
They
Oh
were
my
awesome.
God. And you're like, sure, this'll work. Let me power it up for you. And then they all just puke. Oh my
That-
And
god.
that
was-
was a lot of running around too.
Oh man, they were
Yeah.
so funny.
Oh, that was
I-
I love that mission.
You're
That
like,
mission was so fun.
sure,
And then
let
at
me
the
power
and then
this.
at the end of it, when all the rockets take off, except for that one kind of does that weird drag as it's trying to fly off. I love that. That was an awesome mission.
That was
crazy.
to me, I love that one, and I put that alongside when you deal with the cult people in Nuka World, the hubris or whatever they were called.
The hubris, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Hubologists. That's what they
Hubologist,
were.
that was it. That's who I was thinking of. Was
Yeah,
that.
and then
Hubologists.
They want
and-
you to power up that ride because they think it's the rocket and you're going to send them to the moon. So
Yeah.
you power it up and then it spins around and all they do is throw up.
See,
Well, I love-
not all ghouls are intelligent. Like not all non-ferals are intelligent. So there's
Well, they might
normal
not have been
dipshits.
intelligent before they ghoulified. You never know. I mean, you can't make something more intelligent, right? I guess.
Not for the most part, no.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
but if you're a
they
dipshit, you're a dipshit.
Pretty much. We
But
can't
it's-
improve on
Oh
what you
my
already
gosh.
had.
yeah. But I and again, maybe going back to one of the reasons why I think that there's a lot of people that love the ghouls is that subset of the community that really love the ghouls.
Mm-hmm.
All of the artwork that we see that gets posted up in the community, and a lot of the fiction that people write in the community. And I think it just it's so funny that there's like certain characters that people just have glommed onto, and it's like, well, that's the object of their affection.
And you brought Eugenia alive in your podcast. I mean, you
think
really brought her
character. I think that's an awesome character.
She is a great
just tell, like, it was I actually just listened to again the final and like the 3 episodes before the final.
Yeah.
I listened to those again, and just like Eugenie, the interactions between her and Valeria, and then like when Valeria is like, no, you need to go, I'll take care of this, I'll stay here, and then
she's like, no, I'm not leaving,
just being tore apart from the whole thing. And then when she gets where did they go to when they left?
Foundation.
When
they went to Foundation.
They went to Foundation, and that's right after Foundation just got blown all to hell. And then they like her walking up, oh, she left, she told me to come here, and and they were like, oh my god. And then they were like thinking about going to go back and get her, and just like the acting there was spot on.
Firewriter she does amazing with that. And just, I mean, it's like you can just feel your heart just breaking, because you're just like, oh my gosh, because
you don't always get that translated into these stories, because some of the acting that I've found in some other stories, it's just so cut dry kind of reading. And it's like, no, put yourself there. What
exactly.
would you do? How would you sound if somebody tore your heart out?
Right. It's like you have to pretend this is real and this is happening.
Yeah. Some of the acting's missing in some of those stories that I'll listen to.
Firewriter's got it going. She's
Well, I mean, and the reason I loved Eugenie as a character so much is that she's a link back to the past. You don't know a whole lot about her, but she's got, and I'll use this pun, she's got sass to spare, because she is no nonsense. She's an arms dealer.
Yeah.
And
she can fight.
Yeah, and she can fight. I mean, she's not like a shrinking violet where it's like, you're gonna, she's just gonna fade away and not do anything.
Valeria's like, I need you to stay here. She's like, excuse me, I can take care of myself.
For those of you that don't know who we're talking about, is actually one of the main characters at the ending of season 2. Season 2?
She's the main character through season 2, right?
Yeah.
Of the Modus Files, which is the brainchild of the gentleman down here, Lawrence. So yeah, make sure you check that out on Spotify or wherever you find your podcatchers, because it's an awesome story from the very beginning to the end. And it's not just because we're all part of it.
Yeah. No.
Well, I keep telling I keep telling people that the story belongs to the community. I've had so many different people that have actually participated, and I just love it. And I love the fact that I have actually a lot of people that will tell me exactly what you said, which is these NPCs mean something to me now because you've brought them to life. I mean, even the fact that I was able to add Graham in, and people are like, wow, like they love the idea of these NPCs doing things other than what they see that they're scripted in the game. It's just, it extends the story. It brings them to life. And I do like the fact that Bethesda gives us these characters, and they leave enough blank space that we can all fill in like what we think is going on kind of in the back of their head. Like, where did they come from, and where do they want to go, and what are their dreams? What are their hopes? And all of that, I think, means something. And for me, kind of bringing it back to the topic, ghouls themselves, I think, represent a very unique perspective for a lot of the reasons we've already mentioned. A lot of them are from before the war. They have experienced a lot of hardship because they were discriminated against. They had to leave where they were. And they're also living with the fact that, one, they could become feral, or two, they're going to live forever. And what do you do with yourself? What does that do to a person's psyche when you know that 100 years from now, you're still going to be here, and anybody who's not like you is not going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. And you wonder, when we talked about it, why a lot of them are quirky and why there's a lot of dark humor. Well,
it's their survival mechanism.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my good friends became a widow at an early age, and she jokes and sort of apologetically, she's like, forgive my gallows humor. And I'm like, I get it. you go through something like that and you do have like a little darker sense of humor. And I can see, with the ghouls, they've seen so many people come and go. If they've tried to form relationships, that person has passed on and whatever, absolutely they could.
etc.
Yeah, just depend, that they would develop that type of humor.
And I think we resonate with them so much because there's, no matter what ghoul is there's something about them that we can all relate to. Like
Mhm.
we've all suffered some sort of persecution. We've all suffered from some sort of, internal pains, and like we've all felt inadequate at some time, all these different emotions and things that they've got to deal with for being around so long. We've all dealt with at some point in our lives. And I think that resonates with us as a relatable element for everyone,
I agree.
It gives you a reason to go like this.
Well, I know, and like I said, I think it just brings more humanity into the game.
Yeah.
Just a lot of human element comes in because they're not necessarily the enemy, but they kind of represent an enemy class. And, you're getting to see what's left of the good of those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But again, I also like the fact that they do show that as much sympathy as you would have for a group of people, you can't paint a broad brush and say that they're all being persecuted for the wrong reasons. Like, again, the 10 penny tower situation brings up.
Yeah.
And but so that challenges your perception, and it brings you back down to, you judge a person by their actions. You do not you don't need, not by how they look,
not by their parents.
It's what they are doing right in front of you right then. And if that person is a good person, it doesn't matter what they look like. If they're a bad person, it also doesn't matter what they look like.
Right. And that's the way it is with anybody,
Yeah.
in the game or in real life.
Life lessons to be learned there for sure.
Absolutely.
I think that pretty much wraps us up, guys. I think we found that we have a lot more about ghouls to talk about than see. I wasn't entirely sure how well it would go, and I just knew I liked ghouls and I wanted to talk about ghouls.
And we did.
and I did do my research. I mean, I did check out, some of the past on them and whatnot, because I probably would have had no idea about some of them, like whales and things like that. I was like, oh, there's
and
whales.
the gorilla.
Huh? Yeah,
the
gorilla.
We just got to bring that up again. One more time.
Yes, absolutely, we do.
But if anybody else, got anything out there that they want to talk about as far as ghouls or whatever, actually any subjects, it would be a great service to us if you guys would give us, show suggestions, and you can send them to our Twitter at Fallout RTB, or you can send us an email at falloutrtb@gmail.com, or just type it in the bottom of the comments on the YouTube page, or go to our Discord and do it there, or maybe some smoke signals, or just flash some bright colored lights at us or whatever. But any cool suggestions, man? If it's in the realm of the reality of Fallout, we'll probably make it work somehow.
Well, we do this for you, so we want to know what you want to hear or what you want to talk about. So
no, we don't. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, we do it for Jaxus, and he's out of ideas. So
I'm never out of ideas.
All right, before we go, let's go
Some
around.
just may
Everybody
not be very
tell
appropriate.
who is your favorite ghoul from the Fallout games. We'll start with Lawrence.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Eugenie. It's just, there's no competition there. So
okay, Jaxus.
Oh, I gotta go with Hancock.
Romer,
sorry, but Hancock's always been the coolest.
Of course. Romer?
I'm gonna go different, and the Fallout salesman, or the vault salesman.
The Nuka.
That's
good.
Oh, I love him.
That's good. Dang, now I don't know who to go with.
I'm so sorry, Gob. I really am.
Well, we already.
You know what? Gingerino's
gonna go
favorite
for
is
Gob.
Gob. Yeah, Ginger's favorite is Gob.
He's putting the kid to bed. So
He's putting his ghoul to bed. Sorry.
He's putting his ghoul to bed. His little ghoul. Gosh, I just don't know. Probably Hancock. But I think I really do like the lady. I think her name's Daisy. I think I really like the lady in Good Neighbor. So I guess I'll go for her. Because the story about the library just really touched me. So I'm going to go for her. And I'm pretty sure her name's Daisy. If I'm wrong,
Good.
somebody tell me. It's been a while since I played Fallout 4.
I would have to say the most compelling story I had ever heard that had to do with a ghoul was actually the one Lawrence put out there about the girl changing. You know,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Abby. Yeah.
to me, that was just from listening to it from beginning to end. It was just like
Can you
like,
imagine?
you
Yeah,
slowly
because, like,
understand and you kind of like get a relative idea of like
The
losing
process.
your humanity right then. You know, it's like it's just being peeled away from you bit
Yeah.
by bit. And
like
it was
looking at
just
yourself and like
yeah.
seeing what's happening and
Mhm. Yeah.
how you feel through the whole thing, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, well, and like we see the terminal entries of the one that we were talking about earlier that was injecting herself, and like how like her terminal entries like became less coherent over time,
Yeah. It just
and it's
gerbil.
like, ooh,
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
and imagine thinking that you're dying, like, because that's the process that you think that you're going through. You think you're in the process of dying.
but you
So,
don't.
and then you
die.
don't.
Yeah.
And then, so, I mean, in my mind, that is as big a shock as actually dying. Because when you,
Right.
you know, when you die, you're die. It's over. It's done
It's
with.
just
But all of a
done.
sudden, you've gone through this transformative process, and
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself, is that a blessing or is that a curse?
I don't
You know,
know.
which side do you land on? Because it's
because you're never gonna die. You're gonna be here forever. I mean, do
well,
you
unless you
wanna
get, I
live?
mean, unless you actually get like
Well,
physically
unless you like,
killed.
yeah, you get shot or something. But it's like, do you want to be here forever?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine after a few hundred years, there's I mean, and I think one of the quotes is, "This is the first and last generation of ghouls," because it's obviously there's not going to be a
There
whole
won't
lot
be
more
any more,
made,
and they're gonna be here forever.
and eventually more and more of them will just die off, and you know, it's possible that
That
at
would
some
be
point in the future
interesting,
there'll
a
be none.
Fallout game where there's very few of the ghouls left.
Oh, so
That would
so
be
we were talking
fun.
about like if we see Fallout in like, I don't know, 500 years in the future, where like all civilization is basically back to where it is now, and there's
That
probably like no ghouls left,
probably
and
none, you would
probably no
imagine,
super
because
Or a
mutants
couple
left.
hundred.
Or
Yeah.
they've perfected the FEV, so the super mutants are all like super smart and
Yeah.
they're not aggressive or anything like that.
That's possible. I mean, I mean, that's actually interesting. What would
Right there.
actually, here's a topic for you. What would the post Fallout civilization look like? Once society comes back, what comes after?
like
Hmm.
like 4 or 5 years after.
Yeah,
Or
like if
25 years.
because well, it was
Like
funny because House was saying that if he was in charge in like 300 years they'd be on Mars or something, or whatever it was, like, or
Yeah.
in 2300 he'd be landing on Mars. But fast
Like,
forward
would we
Fallout
just
another couple
do
hundred
this
years.
all over again?
Probably
We
if
just
it's Fallout,
circle
yeah.
around and just start the world over the way we left it, or the way it was before the bombs.
Screw it all up all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Fallout 6. That's like the next war.
Yeah. But you know how like how
All right,
the
folks.
Enclave wants to reestablish the government. Are we all gonna? So we're getting into a new topic. We should probably stop.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and
Save
cut things
that
off here.
for another show.
Yep.
Maybe next
and
week.
Lawrence, thanks for coming on, man. It's always great to have you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Everybody, let's just say goodnight and see you later, guys.
All right, see you guys.
Good
Bye
night.
now.
See you later, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.